Hey everyone, I am so excited. I hear you guys are working on your big research project and that you are continuing an assignment that I used to teach even when I was an English teacher, where you have a debatable topic that you chose and you have to do research on it and create a research paper as well as a presentation that goes with that that looks at the topic, looks at opposing arguments, looks at the background of that. So you're going to definitely need to do some research. Now, before you come to the library, we want to make sure you're prepared to do that research so that your time in this library computer lab is not wasted. So let's get started. Let's jump in and let me tell you a little bit about myself and what we're going to be learning. We're going to be learning about something called the Big Six, which is a research method that is going to serve you well here in the future. Before that, you probably want to know who I am and why I know enough to talk to you about it. Well, my name is Mr. Camber. I'm the librarian. I like to coordinate, as you can tell by my suspenders, tie, and glasses. Matching is key. Excuse me. You'll find I may be coughing throughout this video. I'm just getting over the flu and coronavirus together. Our purpose today is to establish successful strategies to finding remarkable, reliable research and the use of said research upon its finding. What the heck does that mean? That means that we are specifically looking for how to research. What methodology do we use when we do our research? How do we go about it? And once we find that research, how do we know that it's good research? And then once we find good research, what do we do with it? How do we incorporate it into a product? So those are the things that we're going to be looking at today. This is something that you will find is incredibly important on so many levels. What you may not be aware of as a student is that there are all kinds of standards that we as teachers and educators are constantly trying to follow. You know them as like DLOs, daily learning objectives that your teacher puts on the board. But before they put those DLOs up on the board, they have to find those standards either in their textbook, the curriculum. And in this case, this project that we're doing, it meets a bunch of different standards. For state standards, there's 110.37.C11.1. What the heck is that? Well, that specifically is saying that you need to be able to develop questions for formal and informal inquiry. In other words, you got to be able to come up with a research question, which is the very first thing you got to do on this assignment. There's Common Core standards, and even though we're not a Common Core state, people like to know that we know those Common Core standards because that apparently makes you a good educator. So with that, we're going to be looking at gathering relevant information from multiple authoritative print and digital sources using advanced searches effectively, and then assessing the usefulness of each source. Kind of goes on and on from there, but basically the research process is what we're working on. There's ISTE standards, like the students need to plan and employ effective research strategies to locate information and other resources for their intellectual or creative pursuits. And there's AASL standards, like learners engaging with new knowledge by following a process that includes using evidence to investigate questions. Oh man, that was an alien. Okay, so clearly research is important and it's something that we need to continue doing. All right, let's look at the next thing we need to talk about. What is the Big Six? The Big Six is a process of inquiry and information literacy which enables students to gather, evaluate, and implement information through research. Long story short, we're trying to figure out how to do research. Research is a skill that really should be in the curriculum every year. It's something that's going to be incredibly essential to you in your college lives. If you choose not to go to college and go to tech schools, you need to be able to research to solve problems even at home or in technological jobs. For instance, my wife has a pole saw and the chain was coming loose. She had to figure out, how do I fix this chain? So she did research to figure that out. And sometimes research is a lot more complicated than just Googling or asking Siri or Alexa. So we're trying to make sure that you know how to do real research. So what do you already know? Chances are you know more than you think you know. So we're going to have you dive into a quiz here in just a minute on Quizzes. Your teacher has the individual code, and you're going to need your smartphone out to do that. And essentially, we're just going to ask you some questions that are related to the process, and you're going to tell us what you know. And that helps us to know how quick we can go with the rest of the lesson. Ultimately, what I want you to know is the Big Six is a concise, that means short, but complete cycle for gathering, evaluating, and implementing research into a complete product. Each step represents an integral and necessary step in the process. So what we're going to do now, your teacher is going to navigate you over to a couple of YouTube videos that are going to talk a little bit about the Big Six. And from there, we're going to wrap up by kind of going over one more time what the Big Six is. All right, you guys. Talk to you later.